Summoning demons isn't easy, and today we have rituals that have actually worked. It's not super duper easy. You need a Ouija board, a magic mirror, or other dangerous items, so pay attention folks. If you need a new bestie, all you need is a cup of salt, 6 scented candles, preferably lavender, lots of chalk, a box of matches, and you can't forget an offering. Now this depends on the demons. Usually a couple of boxes of organic dark chocolate will do the trick. Start by choosing your summoning area. It could be your attic, your basement, a clearing in a deep dark forest, or an abandoned building. You can also choose a cemetery, but expect some ghosties, some ghouls, maybe a vampire. Cover your chosen summoning area in a large ring of salt and make sure there are no gaps. Using that chalk, draw a circle within the confines of the salt. Then draw an inverted pentagram in the circle. Make it big and expressive. And after all, you want to make sure you're impressing your future demon buddies. Place 5 of your candles at each point of your pentagram and place a 6th in the center. Light the candles with a match and place your offering in the center of the circle, next to that candle. Now recite the words Secula Secorulum. Be my friend over and over, about 6 times. Say it confidently and with conviction. And if you have a particular demon in mind for summoning, picture them in your head while chanting. If you've done this correctly, then you should see purple and red light emanating from the center of the summoning circle. Now at this point, introduce yourself, get to know them. Make sure that your demons know not to cause too much chaos while they're here. Once you have confirmed they're cool, you're gonna be safe, feel free to break the salt ring and invite them to your social gathering. Once you're done, return them to the summoning circle, rebuild the salt ring, and recite the words home sweet home, and they're gonna go back to their ring of hell. If you want a demon with more power, it's vital to work in a group. This should be made up of multiple powerful magicians channeling their collective energies into the creation of a portal. The more powerful summoners there are in a group, the greater the results. The power of the group will also determine how long the portal can remain active, since longer lasting portals allow more demonic forces to enter our plane of reality. Next up, the connection between spiritual planes of reality on our own is the most sensitive at 3 a.m. This is because the line between spirit and matter overlaps at this hour, thus making us more aware of spiritual forces which we'd otherwise not come in contact with. Time to start the ritual. Pretty simple, just pour gasoline or another flammable concoction on the ground, and if you're creating a new portal, you're gonna have to trace the outline of the area. But if it's already clearly marked, a straight line from one side to the other will do. Afterwards, it's time to surround the portal and begin to chant. Conjuro potentiae Lucifer, petefessio apporta ad inferos, et tua demones tensire, sic orantar mundi, and you say this over and over again. As this gets close to 30 repetitions, have the leader of the group approach the portal and light the fire. On the 60th repetition, all magicians should kneel on one knee, hands stretched, palms facing the flames from a safe distance, with energy from the hands directed at flames. Repeat the chant for 30 more repetitions in this position. On the 90th repetition, either the flames are going to soar higher and you're going to see the spirits, or maybe somebody's going to jump. You're going to feel the supernatural occurrences. Now, if somebody feels summoned to enter the portal at this point, it can be done while everybody else is channeling their energy into it. Everybody should remain kneeling, minus the 1 or 2 people that go through the portal, because it's vital that the portal remains open so that you can come back. Don't wander off too much while you're there, because if anybody's starting to falter, you could get trapped. Wouldn't be fun. The Conjuring Mirror. So this was something that originally belonged to a 45-year-old New Jersey man named Oliver Birnbaum, and it was used to practice a medieval ritual known as speculum, or mirror magic. He performed a lengthy incantation ritual known as a conjuring formula, inviting the spirit world to assist him in manipulating the future. So when he first started doing this, he didn't see a lot in the mirror. Maybe the movement of a couple of blurred forms, or quick little incidents that really didn't mean anything to him. But the more he concentrated his attention into the mirror, the more control Oliver gained, and ergo, the more he could see. After performing this ritual obsessively for many months, he got to the point where all he had to do was state what he wanted to see and the desired image would appear, eventually being able to tune into the future whenever he wanted. He gained the ability to project people he didn't like into the mirror, singling them out for punishment or revenge. Eventually, Oliver neglected the part of the ritual where he had to pay homage to Satan, and as a result, the evil he proposed for others began to happen to him, and the spirits he turned loose on his enemies were now infesting his home. After about a week of torment, this man was so terrified that he called a Catholic official and was like, "Please send me anybody." He got the Warrens. When they got to his home, they met a man frightened out of his wits, and well, rightfully so. Doors were opening and closing by themselves. Every minute something would crash and break, or bounce off a wall and just smash. Ed Warren was able to reverse the ritual originally enacted by Oliver and bless the house, stopping the disturbance. And he took the mirror with him too. Emerging also from the case files of Ed and Lorraine Warren is that of the black lace veil. So after one of his public lectures, Ed was conversing with a couple that had been in the audience. They introduced themselves themselves as Alan and Lonnie, and they'd come because Alan had suspicions about Lonnie being under some sort of occult influence. He's like, whenever Lonnie's angry, her features are changing into something that looks like a wolf, and her voice would be different. Like, not a voice that she could make on her own just doing an impression. Well, when Lorraine walked over to join the group, Lonnie experienced an episode of instantaneous possession and lunged, like almost to attack Lorraine. After about 10 minutes, this passed, and Lonnie was lucid enough to explain that she'd been dealing with memory loss, losing hours and days of her life, which is a symptom that's kind of common in possession. Turns out she'd visited a store prominent in selling tools to help with witchcraft, bought a book on black arts, and performed a ritual for acquiring lovers. She wanted her boyfriend to fall in love with her, and this ritual involved the black lace veil, on top of which she placed a crown of goat horns before renouncing God and her baptism, along with swearing allegiance to Satan, finalizing the ritual by washing down the vow with a cup of animal life force. So a month after Lonnie performed the ritual, Alan began paying her the attention she wanted, making her entitled world perfect. But everything went sideways, and Ed was like, okay, we're gonna need an exorcism. So he made contact with the priest the next morning, who was able to come and assist with the procedure. After everything was said and done, the Warrens brought the black lace veil, the goat horns, the cup, and the Conjuring book home with them, because, well, they didn't want repossession to happen. And finally, yep, Ouija boards count as demonic rituals, folks. Patty Donovan was simply a lonely girl, and she thought this little board was going to find her a friend, and it found her a manipulator. She spent months falling in love with a spirit she believed to be in love with her. She told it secrets about her everyday life. She was like emotionally dependent on this weird being. Well, on the evening of March 2nd of 1974, she was pleading with her boyfriend to manifest. And the next morning, her dad found the spark plug wires pulled out of his car, the rubber hose unfastened, and the fan belt was cut. And also, Patty was like, okay, I'm gonna go try my car. Well, the internal engine was completely disassembled. That week, other incidents of apparent vandalism occurred around the Donovan house. Oh, and Patty couldn't contact her invisible boyfriend anymore. Night after night after night, she tried to communicate, but the planchette would just slide over to goodbye. She had no idea that her ethereal boyfriend was a supernatural vandal that was targeting her. By the second week of March, material damage to the house and cars was so major that her dad complained to the police. By April, furniture was levitating, and by that there was a 250-pound dresser flinging itself around while flying erratically. Rocks were raining from the sky, pelting the house. Thankfully the police did see that one, but they had no answers. Finally, the family reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren. They got to Maine as quickly as they could, and they were like, whoa, what's going on? After a lengthy tour of the house, they conducted an interview with the entire family, and that's when they found out about the Ouija board. So then they reached out to the Catholic Church. They were like, please, we need to, get on with an exorcism. It took about a month, and the family experienced many more unexplainable horrors during that time. After the exorcism took place on May 2nd, the family was finally free from demonic torment, but they were left with over $5,000 in damages to the home, which would be like over 30 grand in today's money. Well, that's all for today, folks. I've been Alexa, your resident ooky spooky girly. See ya!